Good morning once again. So far, what we have done was to learn how to download stock prices using Yahoo Finance. Now, I ask you to download the stock prices for several stocks. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Tesla, Netflix. Okay. So what I did was, so that we are on the same page, I posted in our modules. Paki-download na lang guys sa modules yung pinost ko na Excel file. This one, no? Portfolio of stocks. Kindly download that. We're going to use that now. And once you have it, guys, kindly chat, please, kung yes na, so that I'll proceed. Okay, thank you. All right, so just a quick review of what we have discussed so far. Last time we learned how to plot. Did we discuss this, guys, sa session natin? I'm confused kung na-discuss natin yung candlestick. Paki-chat nga please kung na-discuss natin yung candlestick sa session natin last Monday.
Sir, for the candlestick.
Itong plot na to. Did we, guys? Yes. Yes ba? Okay, thank you. So anyway, guys, since we discussed it, I'm just giving you a sample of the plot of the candlestick, no? And we learned that yung white dito, ibig sabihin, yung opening price nasa baba, closing price is the one on top. A white candlestick means the price, there was an increase in the price relative to the opening and the closing. Yung mga black naman, baliktad. Yung opening nasa taas, yung closing nasa baba. The wick there, yung WICK, guys, represents your highest and the lowest. Of course, let me increase the size. Ito, guys, yung highest. Ito yung lowest. Sometimes walang wick, no? This is black. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Bakit walang wick dito? It means, guys, that this is closing to, no? Closing to. Kasi black siya. This means that at this time, itong wick na to, the closing price is the same as the lowest price. Kaya wala siyang wick dito, no? Okay, so that's what this means kung walang wick. All right. So also last time we learned how to, before I proceed, any questions about this? Okay, any questions about the data depiction using candlestick? Questions? Or let me put it this way. If clear siya, kindly chat yes, please. Okay, good. Thank you. Now, I'm sure, guys, that this is something new for you kasi wala naman kayong subject yata. And wala kayong magiging subject sa whole stay nyo sa Lasal na na matututunan nyo to. So only here. In fact, doon sa ibang FMD sections, hindi naman nila dinidiscuss to. But this one is really very practical. It's a skill that's nice to have, guys. So I hope that you're learning this. Okay, being able to later on, pag mag-invest kayo, not necessarily sa American stocks, but sa Philippine stocks, pwede nyo namang, pwede nyo i-analyze yung stock, yung data ng Philippine company if you're going to invest in the stock market, and then try to analyze yung performance ng stock na yon over time, kung either daily, monthly, or weekly data. Okay, which we did last time. So what we did last time was to compute for the returns. Okay, we use simple returns, otherwise known as, this is also called discrete returns. Okay, and then we also learned how to compute for the log returns, which is otherwise known as continuous returns. Okay, so sabi natin, ang discrete returns, it's simply the ratio of the value now divided by the value previous value minus 1. Okay, si log returns naman, yung continuous, it's just the log, particularly the ln, natural logarithm, of the ratio of the value now over the previous value. Okay, and we're using weekly data here. Okay, so yung risk naman, guys, sabi natin, it's measured by variance or standard deviation. So yung standard deviation is simply the square root of the variance. So the variance is a measure of the summation of the squared deviations averaged by n-1. Okay, so it's an average measure of deviation. We use n-1 kasi sample siya. Okay, last time we also learned how to so we computed for the variance mathematically. Okay, and then we also learned how to make use of the Excel function. Okay, so there's another measure which we also discussed last time. Let me just go back to that. But sabi natin, another measure is beta. So let me access Apple. So Yahoo Finance measures beta using monthly data for the past 5 years. So what they do is to collect monthly data for the past 5 years, and then i-compare nila yan kay GSPC. And here you have a beta of 1.2, yung returns ng stocks ni Apple compared to the returns of stocks of GSPC, yung Standard & Poor's, which is a proxy for the market. Sabi natin yung 1.2, a beta that's higher than 1 indicates that it's riskier than the market. 1.2 means that if the market increases by 10%, then this stock, Apple stock, will increase by 12%. Kasi 1.2 times siya. Attendance mamaya na lang, Nike. So, tapos guys, pag bumaba siya ng 10%, yung market, bababa naman si Apple ng 12%. So either way, guys, mas mataas yung yung increase or decrease niya. Compare that to a, for example, tingnan natin si Microsoft ba, ano yung beta ni Microsoft? Let's see. Yung 0.86, di ba? So si Microsoft, 0.86 yung beta niyan. Again, guys, this is based on a 5-year data, monthly. So that means 60 yan na, 60 observations yan. Kasi 5 years times 12, so that's 60 past observations. So just to clarify, guys, again, yung concept ng ng beta, it's a measurement of the risk relative to the market. Mamaya magko-compute tayo ng beta at titingnan natin. Okay, so what we have here, the data that I shared with you, is a portfolio, is a list of stocks. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, Tesla, Google, Intel, and GSPC. Guys, this is just to show you guys para para alam nyo. So GSPC, so that's Standard & Poor's. In fact, the ticker symbol is this grave accent. Okay. Itong caret pala, caret GSPC, that's Standard & Poor's. Ano yung Standard & Poor's, guys? It's an index. It's an index consisting of 500 different stocks. Okay, so it's used oftentimes as a proxy for the market. Bakit? Anong ibig sabihin ng proxy? Kasi hindi naman talaga 500 shares stocks ang nasa US market. More than, no? More than. So it's just representative of the whole market, yung S&P 500. Okay, so that's where, by the way, yung GSP nga pala guys, unlike the other stocks, hindi na siya mada-download, no? Hindi na siya mada-download. Wala nang automatic download sa kanya. So let me go to historical data. Di ba yung Apple, yung ibang stocks, Netflix, when you get the historical data, may makikita tayo dito na, okay, here, di ba may download dito? Ngayon, wala nang download, no? So what you do, after you identify the period or yung frequency, kung daily, weekly, monthly, i-copy nyo na lang. No? Copy, and then paste nyo sa Excel. I don't know why tinanggal nila ni Yahoo Finance yung download. So that's what I did here sa GSPC natin. So this also came from Yahoo Finance. Tapos kinopy-paste ko na lang. No? Okay, so why don't we copy this para ma-preserve natin yung original na data. So dito tayo gagawa ngayon. Lagyan natin dito stock returns and risk. Okay. So let's use this, itong copy ng original data natin. Preserve nyo to guys para kung kailangan nyo kayong mag-practice, andiyan pa rin yung data natin. Okay, and then to save on time, we're going to hide. I-hide natin yung i-show na lang natin yung first 5 and then the last 5. Hide natin. Okay, there. 1, 2, 3, 4. First 4 lang pala. First 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4. First 5 and last 4. Okay? So that way guys, yung ano natin ang formula mas mabilis. So what we're going to compute now is average. Dito na lang. No? Okay. May nag-chat ba? Okay. Mamaya na lang attendance please after our classes. No? So let's copy. Control C, Control V. Copy natin guys yung ano natin, yung mga ticker symbol natin. And then let's compute for the returns. No? Let's use the log returns. So this is simply equal to ln, natural logarithm natin ang ginagamit. Ln of the price at time t divided by the price at time t minus 1, yung previous. No? Okay, so we're using continuous returns here. So I said guys, I hope you did some research on why continuous returns ang ginagamit. Babalikan na lang natin yan. So copy ko, copy down, copy to the right. So we now have the log returns of the stocks that we chose. Okay. Kindly chat please if you are able to follow along. Kasi ang ginagamit natin yung returns, no? Ang inaaralan natin dito risk and returns nga, no? Kaya yung returns we need to compute for that. But the returns are based on the stock prices, no? So kailangan natin stock prices bago natin ma-compute yung returns. So kindly chat please kung okay na. Okay na yung returns natin. kindly chat, please, guys, if you have computed for the returns, log returns. Okay. Thank you, Karina. How about the rest, guys? Let's wait for your classmates. Okay, thank you, Louis. Sige, I hope more give their response. Na dalawa pa lang out of 26 of you. Let's give a few more seconds to the others. Guys, kailangan nyo makompute yung returns ha, kasi yung iba hindi natin makukompute pag wala tayong returns. Okay, waiting for the others. A few more seconds. Thank you to those who responded. Konti na lang. A few more seconds, guys. Kasi walo pa lang yung nagsabi na naka-compute na ng returns. Okay, sige. Let's continue, guys. So we now have the returns. We can now compute for the average log returns, no? Continuous to, di ba? And then what we're going to do is let's also compute for the variance. Let's compute for the standard deviation. Let's compute for the coefficient of variation. Let's also compute for the beta. So these are the things that we're going to compute now based on the returns of the asset. Let me just hide this. Hide natin to. Okay, so we can easily compute for the average returns. So it's just the average of your returns there. Okay, average returns natin, i-copy natin to. No? And by the way, let's make this percentage para okay. All right. So we have computed for the average returns of the stocks, no, for this 4-year period from January 1, 2018 to December 31, 2021. Now you notice, guys, that I keep on repeating the period kasi syempre pag iba yung and also yung frequency, yung weekly data to. Kasi of course, if we're using a different set of measurements, magiging iba yung average returns nila. So ang tinitingnan natin dito yung average for the 4-year period, a weekly data to. So this is average weekly log returns. Okay, so based on weekly log returns, which company performed best among this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different stocks? Ito kasi GSPC, ano naman to index to, guys, hindi naman stock yan, no? Okay, but we can see that the index decreased in value. So sino dito guys yung pinaka best performer among the different stocks? Paki-chat please. Which company guys performed best among these stocks? Discounting GSPC. Okay, paki-unmute na lang. Sino to? Louis, kindly please. Why Tesla?
Tinignan ko po yung values. Siya po yung pinakamataas yung average po.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You're correct, Louis. Very good, no? So tama si Louis. Kasi kung tingnan natin average, sino yung pinakamataas sa average log return? Si Tesla. 1.36% compared to the others na si, lagyan ko lang ng kulay. Okay. So si Tesla. Tesla had the highest average returns, so 1.3594. Okay. So, close, hindi, malayo nga. Susunod si Apple, tapos medyo malapit si Microsoft kay Apple. No? Tapos yung index, negative nga. No? Ibig sabihin, average return nito negative. Okay? So, among the stocks, ang least performer si Facebook, 0.29%. Ay, hindi pala, si Intel, 0.11% lang. Okay? So in terms of return, in terms of average returns, the best performer was Tesla. Now let's take a look at risk. So we can measure it in terms of variance or we can measure it in terms of standard deviation. So let's first use variance. So guys, ang kinukuhaan natin ng variance ng risk, yung returns sa ito. Not the stock prices kasi baka dito yung base yung computation nyo. No? Baka dito sa prices na to. Hindi, no? It's based on the returns. Kaya importante sa atin yung returns. So the formula that we can use is direction natin var.s. Variance sample, no? Variance ng mga returns, no? So automatic siya. Ang ginagawa dyan ni Excel, R minus R mean squared, sum of that divided by n minus 1. So this is the result. Copy ko lang yung before decimal place na lang din. Okay, so the variance, si Apple is 0.1725. And copy natin to the right. Okay, so we can see here the variances of the different stocks. Pero mas ginagamit natin si standard deviation. So let's use stdev.s. Okay, same. Okay, Control Enter. And then copy natin yung format na to dito. Tapos, yan. Buwasan ko nga ng isang decimal place. Yan na yung 3 decimal places. All right. So in terms of variance or in terms of standard deviation, which stock was the best performer? Sino yung pinaka nag-perform? Anyone? best performing stock in terms of risk.
Hello, sir.
Yes?
Would that be Microsoft since they have the lowest balance?
Sino?
Microsoft since they have the lowest balance.
Yeah, correct. Thank you, Angelo. You're correct. So tama si Angelo, no? It's Microsoft. Okay, whether it's variance or standard deviation. Usually, syempre, pareho dapat yung answer niyan. Okay? So, bakit si Microsoft ang best performer in terms of variance or standard deviation? Kasi siya yung pinaka-least, no? Pinakamaliit siya na excluding guys, excluding GSPC. Pero kung titingnan natin, mas mababa yung value ng GSPC. But GSPC, guys, is our market, no? So, ang tinitingnan talaga natin dito yung yung mga stocks natin. GSPC is the market, so we're excluding it. Kaya naman natin kinuha lang yung GSPC kasi kailangan natin siya in measuring beta. Okay, so you're correct, no? Angelo is correct. It's Microsoft kasi siya yung pinakamaliit na variance, no? And it follows, guys, siya yung pinakamaliit na standard deviation. Okay, so we have conflicting answers here. In terms of returns, pinakamaganda si Tesla. In terms of risk, no? Mas okay si Microsoft. Assuming that, sabi nga natin yung rational behavior ng tao, generally people would tend to be risk averse, no? Ayaw ng risk. Or kung meron man, to a minimum. Yun ang general sentiment ng mga tao, no? Of course, sabi ko nga, meron din mga tao na talagang iba yung risk appetite. Talagang mga risk takers, willing sila to take on risk. So it really depends on the individual. But generally, guys, people tend to be risk averse. Okay, so in terms of, as I said, in terms of returns, pinakamaganda si Tesla. In terms of risk, si Microsoft. So what's the answer, guys, to the question? Which company performed overall? Sino yung pinakamaganda? What do you think, guys? Overall. Anyone? Okay, so the answer lies, guys, in the concept of coefficient of variation. So ito yung gagamitin natin. Kasi may conflict tayo dito, di ba? In terms of returns, si Tesla pinakamaganda. In terms of risk, si Microsoft. So sino ba talaga? So maglagay lang ako ng comment dito, insert comment. So this is coefficient of variation, which is a measure of risk per unit return. So dapat, dinidivide lang natin si risk, or in this case, the standard deviation divided by average return. Okay. So we use this, guys, in order to compute, to determine which among the stocks is the best performer, considering both returns and risk. Kasi in terms of return, si Tesla. In terms of risk, si Microsoft. So if we take both into consideration, then we have a measure called coefficient of variation, which is just computed by dividing your standard deviation by your average return. Oops. Zero decimal place lang natin. Okay, then highlight natin to. Okay. All right, so which of the company, guys, which of the stocks performed best? Anyone?
Sorry, sir. Can I see the formula ulit po for coefficient variation?
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
so it's just the quotient of your risk, kaya nga ito, risk per unit return, no? So risk divided by the returns.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, lagay ko lang dito risk per unit return. Okay, ano ibig sabihin to? For example, si Apple. So 596, sabihin ko lang 5.96. Ibig sabihin nga guys, for every 1% return of Apple, we are assuming a risk factor of 5.96, no? Or 596%. Okay. Si Microsoft naman, for every 1%, kasi naka-uniform na yung return nito. In other words, guys, all of them have a denominator of 1. Okay? Per unit return nga, di ba? So, ang divisor natin dito yung log return. So, ang denominator natin, 1. Pare-pareho silang 1% na yung denominator, 1% yung return. So, yung numerator, pwede na natin i-compare. Okay? So, which company here, guys, of course, hindi nakasama si GSPC, negative nga yung ano nito, no? Which company performed best? Was it Intel, guys? Excuse me. Was it Intel? Anyone?
Sir, wouldn't it be Microsoft?
Yes. Bakit Microsoft?
Because for every unit of return, you're assuming 483% amount of risk. Compared to the other companies, it's less.
Yes, correct. Thank you, Angelo. You're correct, no? Tama. Tama si Angelo. So sa coefficient of variation, guys, the lower the better. No? Parang risk din yan kasi we just standardize the returns. So kasi kung i-compare lang natin yung standard deviation, mas maganda si Microsoft nga. Pero sa returns, mas maganda si Tesla. So paano natin mako-combine yung dalawa na i-consider natin both si returns at saka si risk? Diyan papasok si coefficient of variation. Kasi standardized na, naka-standard na yung returns nila. Tigo 1% na return. Okay? So since both of them are standardized to 1% na return, so syempre mas maganda yung coefficient of variation na mas mababa. Ibig sabihin, I'm getting 1% return from Microsoft, same as Amazon 1% din, same as Facebook 1%. Pero ang risk that I'm taking is 483% lang compared to Intel, no? 3,845%. Okay, of course, guys, it's really quite difficult to put so much emphasis on the meaning of the number, no? Yung 483%. So this is more of a relative comparison. We cannot say that, for example, we cannot say that Microsoft is twice more less risky than Amazon. Kasi halos times 2 to halos lang naman, no? So we cannot say that. We can only say that Microsoft relatively for a 1% return, relatively mas mababa yung risk niya compared to Amazon, compared to Facebook, etc. Okay. Any questions, guys, about these 4 measures? Itong average log returns, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. Any questions so far? Paki-chat naman please kung nakuha, kung naintindihan.
So I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to risk, from yung risk for stock, diba, since it's 483%, what does that mean for the company within the market? Like,
Sorry.
what is the meaning of risk? Like, we know that Microsoft is 183% risk per unit of return. But what does it mean in the market?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I just said. Sabi ko, we can't put so much practical significance on these numbers. Parang ano lang siya, parang index siya, no? Na it appears that Microsoft has a lesser amount of risk compared to Amazon on a 1% unit return for both. Now, we cannot say that, strictly speaking, we cannot say na mas less risky si Microsoft by ×2 kasi itong si Amazon ×2 no? So it's more of what we call a relative risk measure. Okay, we just can't put so much pragmatic interpretation on the numbers per se, no? So for example, kasi pwede natin sabihin 3845 divided by 483. So that's 7.96, no? Ibig sabihin ba niyan si Intel 7.96 times riskier than Microsoft? Kasi nung dinivide natin si 3845 by 483, the difference is 7 or almost 8 times. So can we say that Microsoft is 8 times more risky than Intel? Okay, we can't say that. We can't say that ang sinasabi natin, no? So yung interpretation nito, take it with a relative lang, no? Relative yung pag-interpret natin. As to the qualitative, hindi natin sinasabi na hindi natin sinasabi na 8 times more risky si Intel compared to Microsoft. Okay? So, Angelo, did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question. Okay, now let's go to beta. Balikan natin yung natin, guys. Balikan natin yung si Yahoo Finance. Okay, so let's see. Let's first again go to Microsoft. No? I think na-discuss ko ito kanina. No? Si Microsoft, ang beta niya is 0.86. Now remember guys that beta is a measure of the riskiness of the asset. But the measure of the riskiness is relative to the market. Ibig sabihin, kino-compare natin sa market. Itong kaninang measurement natin ng risk, itong standard deviation na to, is just a measurement of the riskiness relative to the volatility of the returns of the asset. We're not comparing it with the benchmark. We're not comparing it with GSPC. Itong 3.247 na to, it's just a measure of the volatility of the returns of Microsoft. Okay? Hindi natin siya kino-compare kay GSPC, kay Standard & Poor's. Yung beta, guys, is a measurement of relative risk in the sense that we're comparing the asset with the market, which is Standard & Poor's. So here, nakita natin si Microsoft, 0.86. Ibig sabihin, okay, ibig sabihin ito, guys, it's less risky compared to Apple. Kasi si Apple, 1.2 yung beta. The higher the beta, guys, the higher is the risk. So in fact, Apple is more risky than the market, and then Microsoft is less risky than the market. Ano ibig sabihin ng 0.86? Ibig sabihin ng 0.86, guys, if the market moves by 10%, it goes up by 10%, then Microsoft will move only by 8.6%, whether upward or downward. No? Since it's a positive beta, it means that it goes with the market. So kung tataas yung market, tataas din si Microsoft. Kung bababa yung market, bababa din siya. It's less risky because if the market drops by 10%, then the expected drop for Microsoft is only 8.6%, mas mababa. Okay? So all the more guys, kunyari ko ang beta 0.1 lang. So ang 0.1 na beta guys, ibig sabihin, pag tumaas yung market ng 10%, yung stock na yun tataas lang ng 1%. Pag bumaba yung market ng 10%, yung stock na yun bababa lang ng 1%. Okay, so it moves with the market. Up the market, up the stock. Down the market, down the stock. Pag negative yung beta, opposite siya. Up the market, down the stock. So if this was negative, ibig sabihin nun, pag tumaas si market ng 10%, si Microsoft bababa ng 8.6%. Okay? So a beta that's higher than 1 means it's it's more risky than the market. Okay, tinampa nga natin, let's see, Tesla. Let's see which other companies. Yung mga betas nila. Ito, mataas ba? 1.98, no? 1.98. Ibig sabihin yan, guys, almost twice. Almost twice yung taas ni Tesla. In a bullish market, guys, very positive yung sentiment ng market. Pataas yung mga prices, therefore pataas positive yung mga returns. Napakaganda nito, guys, pag very bullish yung market. Kasi pag tumaas yung market ng 10%, Tesla will increase by almost 20% times 2. Okay? So yun ang ibig sabihin nun. All right. Now, how did Yahoo compute for this? Now, I leave that to you as an exercise. Paano kaya niya kinompute yung 1.98? Okay? Ang ginamit na data dito, sabi, 5-year. Okay, so tinignan yung 5-year data. Okay? And then monthly data. 5-year monthly data. Eh guys, sandali lang ano ko lang tong cellphone. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right. So let's go back to the computation of beta. Okay, we can approximate the beta, no? But take note, guys, it will be different from the Yahoo Finance measurement. Now, I leave that to you as an exercise, no? Paano kaya kinompute tong 1.98 na to? But with the thought, guys, that the beta is simply the volatility of the returns of that stock relative to the market. Okay, so mag-example tayo dito, magko-compute tayo ng mga beta dito, no? Beta. I'll just show you how to compute it. Kaso we'll have different way different results than the Yahoo Finance. Unang-una, yung data natin dito, yung data natin is weekly, no? Weekly yung data natin, yung data nila is monthly. Tapos tayo yung data natin is 4 years. Ang ginamit ni Microsoft is 5 years. Okay? So I leave that to you as an exercise. Download kayo ng monthly data ni Apple at saka monthly data ng GSPC. And then what you do is monthly data tapos 5 years and then try to see if you can compute for the beta. And let's see kung ganun ba kino-compute ni Yahoo Finance yung beta. So beta is very important, particularly sa mga investors kasi guided sila. Kunyari ang beta is 1.5, alam nila kung gusto ko talagang mataas yung returns, kukuha ako ng stocks na with a beta greater than 1. Kung medyo conservative ako, ayoko yung remember guys, ang stocks kasi it can go up or it can go down. So pag more than 1 yung beta natin, maganda siya pag pataas yung pag bullish yung market. Pero pag pababa yung market, guys, pangit siya, no? Kasi mas mataas yung losses natin, no? Tapos yung negative beta naman, as we said last time, sabi natin it moves opposite the market. So maganda rin yan sa isang portfolio na may negative beta. Ibig sabihin, kasi when the market goes down, meron kang mga stocks na pataas, no? So that's what that means. Okay, so how do we now compute for the beta? Okay, kailangan natin guys, i-unhide ko to, no? Unhide natin yung itong natin, itong mga returns na to kasi ipa-plot natin yung natin, yung data natin. Okay, so we're going to plot this. Okay? All right. So for example, we're interested in knowing the beta of Apple. So how do you compute for beta? Sabi natin, kino-compare natin si Apple relative to the market. So i-compare natin si Apple at saka si S&P. So one of the things that we can do first is to plot, no? I-plot natin yung returns ni Apple vis-a-vis si GSPC. So let me insert a scatter plot. Insert tayo ng scatter plot. Ano nangyari? Yan. Okay. So wala pang laman, no? Wala pang laman kasi wala pa tayong pinasok. Alright. So I'm going to right-click this and then select data. Lalagyan natin ng data and then dito mag-a-add tayo. Okay, let's call the series name as AAPL Apple Beta. Okay, Apple Beta. Yung X values natin guys will be the returns of the market. So pag kino-compute natin yung beta, kailangan yung X natin, yung market, yung Y natin, yung stock. So I'm going to put here sa X values natin yung returns ni GSPC. Control Shift down arrow. Oops. Hindi dapat kasama yung sandali ha. Let me just baba ko lang to ng isang para hindi sumama sa once again guys, sorry about that. So select data. Add. I call it AAPL beta. X values natin will be the returns of GSPC. Okay, hanggang dito, no? Hindi na sumama yung mga measurements natin sa baba kasi naglagay na ako ng space. Okay, and then sa Y natin guys will be the returns of Apple. There, Apple. Okay, kailangan natin i-unhide by the way guys kasi pag hindi natin in-unhide dyan, ang mapaplot lang yung naka-unhide. Lahat ng mga naka-hide guys, hindi siya sasama sa plot. Okay? There, okay. And then okay, then let's see. Okay. Here we can see the plot. Ito yung AAPL beta natin. So ito yung plot ng returns ni S&P 500 sa x-axis and then vis-a-vis the returns of Apple sa y-axis. Again, baguhin nga natin design and make it into this one. Okay? Ito na lang. Okay? So this is the plot of the returns of GSPC vis-a-vis our Apple. No? Okay. Now, how do we compute for the beta? Simple lang guys. Kunin natin relationship ni GSPC and Apple. What we can do is, if you recall this guys, pwede tayong right-click natin any data points, tapos add trend line, tapos display equation on chart. Yan. There. Okay, and you can see here guys, ito yung linear relationship ni Apple at saka ni, lagay ko dito AAPL para alam natin na Apple siya, and GSPC. Let me increase this. Bold natin. Huwag masyadong. Yan na lang. Okay? So, based on our data guys, weekly data, ang slope is 0.25 or 0.26. Okay? So, dito sa measurement natin, ito yung beta, guys. No? This is the beta. Ibig sabihin, for every 1 unit increase in your X, your Apple will change by 0.25. Every 1 unit increase in X, Apple changes by 0.25. Okay, so based on this computation, yun yung beta natin. Now, sabi natin iba siya kaysa dun sa 1.2. I'd like you to discover bakit ang layo yata, bakit dito 0.26. Doon kay kay Yahoo Finance 1.2. Bakit dito parang hindi nga nag-1 yung beta no? Okay? So I want you to discover, i-search nyo guys, bakit isang difference alam natin, 5 years yung sa Yahoo Finance. Tapos monthly din. Okay? So ang beta niya 1.2, tayo yung beta natin dito 0.26. So before answering that guys, I'd like you to discover why. No? Okay. So suffice to say muna ngayon guys that ito yung slope ni 0.25, 0.26. Ito yung beta as far as we're concerned. Ito yung beta ni Apple relative to Standard & Poor's. Okay, let's add another data. Sige. Right click tayo tapos select data, magdagdag ulit tayo ng data, add, lagay natin, sino pa ba? How about Microsoft? Microsoft, ano yung X natin? Once again, yung GSPC yung X. And then si Y natin will be Microsoft, no? Microsoft. There. Okay. So balikan natin yung plot natin. Yan. So here we can see guys, yung orange na to. This is Microsoft. So right click ko any orange here. Okay, and then check natin tama, Microsoft. And then click on any of the orange here. Add trend line. Okay, display equation on chart. Okay, so ito naman si Microsoft. No? Lagyan natin ang pangalan para alam natin kanina to. MSFT. Oops. Yan. Okay? So, yung orange, yung MSFT, no? So based on our computation of beta, nakita natin si Microsoft mas less risky, no? Mas less risky kaysa kay Apple. And if we were compare the standard deviation natin, Microsoft ito 3.247, si Apple 4.153, no? So based on standard deviation, mas less risky si Microsoft. And kita natin dito yan kasi mas mababa yung slope niya. Okay? Dagdagan pa natin, no? Sino pinaka-risky dito? Ang pinaka-risky based on standard deviation is ito, si Tesla, no? Si Tesla. 9.04. So let's include Tesla in our plot. Okay, again, right-click, select data, add. Lagyan natin Tesla and beta. Again, our X values are your GSPC, Control-Shift down arrow. Our Y values will be Tesla. Okay? Okay. Yan, ano siya? Itong itong parang light blue. Right-click natin, add trend line, display equation on chart. Okay, then there. This is the SLA. Okay, so we can see here guys the 4 stocks. No? True enough, yung slope ni Tesla, ito yun, no? Ito. Yung slope ni Tesla mas mataas kaysa sa Apple and Microsoft. So based on this plot, on the comparison of the returns of Tesla and Standard & Poor's with a slope of 0.4352, we can say that Tesla is riskier compared to Apple and Microsoft based on the beta. No? Based on the beta. Okay, let me pause for a while, guys. Let me give you a few minutes to work on your plot. Okay, and if you're done, guys, kindly shop na okay na yung plot nyo. Okay, thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Nike. How about the rest, guys? Laging nasa x-axis, guys, yung market natin. Ha? Okay, good. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Lance. Let's give a few more minutes here, classmates. Okay, how about the others, guys? Okay, now, do you need more time? Thank you, Jean. Okay, so let's give your classmates one more minute. Okay, good. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lance. Okay. So, dito guys, yung na-compute natin na beta, no, is 0.435. Okay, it's 0.435. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa rin siya as the market, no? Kailan ba magiging ano guys? Kailan ba magiging more than 1? Kailan ba magiging more than 1? If the slope is greater than 45 degrees. Okay? If the slope is greater than 45 degrees, yun yung magiging more than 1. Pero dito ang slope lang natin dito 0.43, no? Okay, so there must be something different between the computation of beta dito, no? Dito kasi sa Tesla 1.98 using monthly data, okay, 5 years. So I'd like you to find out paano kaya kino-compute ni Yahoo Finance to, yung beta note na 1.98. Okay, but it's definitely all about the slope, no, relationship between GSPC and the stock itself. Okay, so we can now put some figures here, and just to point out to you guys, pag hinide natin yung data na to, hinide natin yung ibang data, let's see what happens. No? Tignan nyo hide ko. Ito yung ano ni Excel, no? Ito yung medyo problem sa kanya. Pag hinide natin yung data, okay, you know what happens? Okay, kumonti na lang yung points, di ba? Kumonti na lang. Kasi tinatanggal niya yung mga naka-hidden hidden points. Yun ang disadvantage nito. Okay, kahit nasa ilalim pa to, no, kahit hindi siya tinamaan ng ng yung pag-hide, ganun pa rin. In fact, guys, 'di ba ito si Tesla to, yo. Ito. Ano nangyari kay Tesla? Naging negative na. No? Naging negative na yung slope niya. So, hindi na to 'yon. Hindi na ito yung point na positive slope dito. So, medyo nagbago. Okay? Kahit na guys, sinave muna natin to and kinopy natin sa isang sheet. Ganito din, pag hinide natin yung data dito, mawawala din yung yung mga points. Okay? Now, babalikan natin ito mamaya guys. Ibabalik natin yung mga data ulit para bumalik lang yung yung plot natin. Pero let's compute first for the beta. So yung mga beta na lumabas natin dito, actually mako-compute natin yan. Okay? We can use the slope function kasi slope yan eh. That's the slope. So Excel has a slope function. Okay, una, known wise, no? What are our known wise? Ito. Y natin, no? L3 up to L2010. And ano yung known X natin? Yung GSPC. Again guys, si GSPC siya yung nasa X-axis. Okay, and then i-fix natin kay GSPC yung column. We want the column to be fixed, not necessarily the row, kasi we're going to copy this along the row. So hindi naman magbabago yung row position natin sa pag-copy ng formula. Okay, so Control Enter. All right. So i-ano lang natin. And then I'll copy this to the right. Bawasan natin ang yan. Okay. So kita natin guys, si Microsoft 0.259, di ba? Yun. 0.259. Si Apple pala yan. Si Microsoft 1.879 if I increase that by 1 decimal place. Okay. And also si GSPC guys, eksakto yan. 1. Bakit? Bakit si GSPC 1? Kasi the slope of GSPC with respect to GSPC is definitely the slope is 1. Kasi pareho lang siya. No? Alright? So si Tesla naman, 0.352. That's where we got the 0.352. Yan. Okay, so in terms of beta guys, sino yung pinaka-risky dito? In terms of beta, ang pinaka-risky, the greatest beta is still dito si Tesla pa rin, no? Okay? Hindi pa rin, no? Tesla. In terms of beta, Tesla. In terms of log return, siya yung pinakamataas. Okay, so again guys, iba yung mini-measure ng yung standard deviation na risk. It measures the volatility of the shares, of the returns of the stock. Ang tinitingnan natin yung returns niya. Ang beta naman, it's a relative measure. Tinitingnan natin how volatile is the returns of the stock relative to the market. Okay? Pause muna ako. For you to compute for the slope, let me flash the formula. Okay, by the way, guys, sorry, dapat ito yung pinaka-highest ang pinakamaliit naman guys, dapat ang i-highlight ko yung yung smallest. Ito. This one. So Amazon seems to have the lowest beta dun sa returns na ginagamit natin. 0.03 lang yung beta niya. So ang highlight natin dito yung mga best performers, no? Expected guys si GSPC, yung beta niya will be 1. Kasi you're comparing GSPC with GSPC. So paki-chat nga guys, please, kung natapos na yung beta. Okay, good. Thank you. By the way guys, kailan kailan Chinese New Year? May tatamaan ba tayong na holiday na no classes? When is the Chinese New Year? February 1. So tatamaan ba tayo? Ano ba yung date ng February 1? Tuesday. Holiday ba sa Tuesday? Alam ko holiday yung Chinese New Year. Anyway, kung Tuesday siya, then hindi naman tayo affected, no? Kasi 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, Tuesday, February 1. Okay, so we won't be affected. All right. Okay, so far guys, what have we done? We have learned how to compute for the returns of each individual assets, no? Compute for the risk of each individual assets, 2 ways, either before I continue guys, ito guys yung yung Tesla, notice na iba na to, iba na. Negative na yung slope nito, yung nakuha natin was a positive slope. Ibig sabihin, as I said a while ago, Excel also removed from our data set yung mga hidden. Kaya mamaya I will unhide that again para so that we have the correct plots, no? We just hid it so that our computation will be easier. Okay, now another purpose of this lesson, guys, is for us to realize that sa investment, people would diversify. Ano ibig sabihin ng diversify? They will not just invest in Apple, isang stock lang, or Microsoft, isa lang, no? Ang ginagawa ng tao, ang mga investors, they would do a portfolio. Okay? Yung portfolio, guys, ang mangyayari niyan, if you have a portfolio, the main reason why investors have a portfolio is that it mitigates against risk, no? So pwedeng yung portfolio natin, so for example, we have Apple and Microsoft, Amazon. If we have a portfolio of these 3 stocks, pwede yung return ng portfolio na yan mas mababa dun sa pinakamataas dito. If Apple was 0.697, maybe ang return nitong portfolio natin na 3 stock na to will be less than 0.697, but it will be higher than some of these stocks. Okay? So that's one purpose of a portfolio, guys, is not really on the returns, but more on the mitigating against the risk. Kasi pag mag-portfolio tayo, guys, you will notice that mas mababa yung risk ng portfolio natin compared to the individual risks ng asset natin. So next week, guys, we'll have this introduction now. Ang gagawin natin is to learn how to compute the portfolio risk. Okay, kasi madali lang yung portfolio return. Portfolio return is very easy to compute. So which we're going to do now, no? So let's have a portfolio. let's have an example of a portfolio of 2 stocks. Okay, so let's have our 2 stocks, Apple and Microsoft lang. Control C, Control V. Okay, Apple and Microsoft lang, no? So ang returns nila is, I link to that one. Okay, link ko sa sa returns dito, no? So how do you compute for the returns of yung Apple at saka Microsoft yung nasa portfolio natin? Okay, it's very easy to compute for the returns of that. So the formula is our portfolio is equal to, insert natin, symbol. Okay. Okay, so let me just fix this a bit. Snapscript ko lang, guys. Okay. Okay, so it's very easy, guys, to compute for the return of the portfolio. The return of the portfolio is just the weighted average, no, of the weight of the stock multiplied by the return of the stock. So let's assume that you have a portfolio that's equally weighted. No? So ibig sabihin 50% yung kay 50% yung kay or 0.5. Pareho lang naman yun. Okay. 50% yung kay Apple, 50% yung kay Microsoft. Okay, let's suppose you have a portfolio like this, no? 50-50 yung weight ng portfolio natin. Okay, so very easily we can compute for the weighted returns, which is just multiplying yung returns niya multiplied by the weight. Ito, the weight times the return. There. Yun, okay? At 17%. Okay. So, si Apple, 0.348, si Microsoft, 0.336. No? Therefore, ang return ng portfolio is simply the sum. Sum up lang natin. Sum of the two. Okay, so that's the return of the portfolio, no? Okay, notice guys, yung return of the portfolio natin, mas maliit siya kaysa Apple. Okay? Pero mas malaki siya kaysa kay Microsoft. Okay. However, what's very important now is yung return, yung risk. Okay, paano natin kino-compute yung risk? Okay, anyone, guys? Would you know, guys, how to compute for the risk of the portfolio? Okay, so that will be our topic next meeting kasi mahabang discussion, no? Pero ang lang yan, guys, hindi naka no. So lagyan natin dito. Insert tayo ng symbol. So sigma at saka Okay, ayusin ko lang yung formula guys, no? May 2 pa pala dito. 2. Pasensya na guys sa formula, pero explain lang natin to next time. Okay, yun. So this is the formula. Okay, it looks like a very weird formula, no? Okay, so that's how you compute for the risk. This one, guys, is the variance, no? Variance ng risk. Sigma squared siya, that's the variance. Pag tinagal natin yung square dito, kunin natin yung square root ng item on the left, that will be your standard deviation. So how do you measure the risk of the portfolio, guys? Kukumputin din natin yung standard deviation. And there's a formula for that. Ito yung formula, no? Wi, Wj, sigma, ij. Okay? So, medyo mahaba-habang discussion to, so I'll suspend the discussion for a while. But let me just highlight the formula. So this will be W1, okay, squared okay. Hindi na tayo aabot ng formula, okay? So sige, sa ano na lang to, sa 1 minute na lang kasi, no? Okay, so next meeting, guys, yung returns ng portfolio madali lang, no? You just have to know the weights. Ano bang weight ng asset 1 ang asset 2? Okay, of course, a portfolio can be more than 2 assets. Pwedeng, so isang gagawin natin, we will use these 7 stocks as part of our portfolio, no? So hahanapin niyo kung ano yung return ng portfolio kung meron tayong 7 stocks. And then ang mas challenging dan is to compute for the risk, no? Take note of the formula, no? So ito yung medyo challenging, which I'm going to explain next meeting. Okay, pero may I request you guys to please read on, no? Paki-research na lang kung paano hinahanap yung yung risk ng portfolio. Okay? All right. So with that, guys, we summarize ko lang yung discussion natin ngayon. Today we were able to learn how to, tanggalin ko na tong dito. Unhide ko na to. Unhide. Para bumalik na yung plot natin. Ang nangyari sa plot ko. Okay, anyway, sira yung plot ko. Okay, so what did we learn today? We learned how to compute, review the how to compute for the individual returns, the variance, the standard deviation, coefficient of variation, tapos pati yung beta, guys, which is a measurement of relative risk, how the stock compares with the market. Okay, and then we started our introduction to a portfolio. The reason being importante in portfolio, if you're going to invest in the future, guys, take note of this. Hindi maganda na iisa lang yung stock na ininvestan nyo. Kasi masyadong delikado yan, no? Pag bumagsak yung stock na yun, bagsak yung investment nyo. Kaya what people do is to have a portfolio. Iba-iba yung stocks nila para kasi iba-iba yung galaw niyan, iba-iba yung beta niyan relative to the market. Okay? So the main objective of a portfolio is to mitigate against risk. Minimize yung risk. Okay, with that guys, thank you so much. I hope you learned something today. So we're going to continue this on Monday. And stop share ko na. Those of you who are where yung attendance siya, paki-remain na lang. Thank you guys. Have a safe day ahead. Salamat ha.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Salamat. Hope you learned something. Salamat. Thank you. Okay, sino papacheck na attendance?
Nike po. Nike Escobar.
Okay, sandali ah. Attendance. Nike, ano yung family name mo?
Escobar po.
Escobar. Okay, thank you Nike.
Sir, ilaw rin po.
Ilaw. Ralph.
Yes, sir.
Thank you Ralph.
Sir Lapus din po.
Tapos. Thank you Isabel.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Who else?
Sir Molina po.
Molina, Jasmine. Okay, thank you Jasmine. Meron pa? Okay, thank you. Keep safe everyone.